and welcome to Cooking with Miss Michelle. Today we're gonna make a fruit pizza. So fruit pizzas are really fun to make because you can customize them with any fruit you want, and you can be really artistic with it and make different patterns with your fruit on your pizza. This was the last thing we made in Cooking Club before everything happened with the lockdown and the pandemic and school closing. But it was very fun. So for this project, you'll need some flour and regular sugar and brown sugar, salt, baking powder, and some softened butter, some vanilla, and 2 eggs. So this is going to be for our sugar cookie. If you want to make this gluten-free or vegan, you can use your favorite sugar cookie recipe. If you're someone that doesn't like to do a lot of steps when you cook, you could also just use some pre-made sugar cookie dough and it would save you some time. For our frosting, we're going to use some softened cream cheese and powdered sugar. And if you want to do vegan cream cheese, you can. You could even do strawberry cream cheese if you're feeling like it. And then you can use whatever type of fruit you like. I like to do a rainbow, so I have strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, and some canned mandarin oranges, pineapple, and some kiwi. So the first thing I'm going to do is make my sugar cookie dough. So I'm going to cream my softened butter with my sugars. And I'm going to do a half cup of each sugar. And I had half a cup of butter. Okay, so when those are blended together, I can add my teaspoon of vanilla and my eggs. And I'm just going to blend these together really well. Okay, and then when that is ready, I can add my dry ingredients. So I'm going to add 2.5 cups of flour. And then a teaspoon of salt. And a teaspoon of baking powder. Okay, so when my dough starts to stick together, I can take it out and I'm going to refrigerate it for about an hour. You can refrigerate it anywhere from 1 to 24 hours. If you want to make it ahead of time, you could even probably make it 2 days ahead of time if you want. Now, I have a pretty nice dough here. The other fun thing about this project is if you want to make one big fruit pizza you can, or if you have a bunch of kids or friends over, you can make like a bunch of small ones and then everyone can decorate their own. So I'm going to break mine into 2. I think I'm going to make 2, and I'm just going to kind of get it into a round, flat shape. So it's going to be kind of the shape I want. It's just going to make it easier to roll out. If I keep it in a big ball, then I'm going to have to do a lot more rolling. When it chills, it firms up a little bit. So if I keep it in the general shape I'm going to want, then it's going to be easier to roll it out and get my shape. So I'm just going to cover these and put them in the fridge. Okay, so while I wait for my dough to refrigerate, I'm going to start washing my fruit. I want to make sure it's really dry before I put it on my pizza. So if I wash it now, it's going to have plenty of time to dry. If you're using canned fruit, you're going to want to strain the liquid out and you can pat it dry with a paper towel. So since I have a lot of different types of fruit, I'm probably not going to need too much of any one kind. So I just like to use a little strainer, rinse them under some water. Okay, so then the stuff that's wet, I can just use a paper towel because I don't want to get a lot of water or fruit juice in my frosting when I assemble my pizza. So I can just kind of pat these dry a little bit. And then if I leave them out while my dough is chilling, then they should be able to air dry a little bit too while we wait. And then for the strawberries, you can either cut them in half. You could slice them this way or this way. Okay, so I'll just let my fruit wait, and then when my dough is ready, I can come back and bake it in the oven. Okay, so my dough has been in the fridge for about an hour. I just preheated my oven to 375, and I'm going to roll my dough out into the shape that I want. I'm just going to do a round shape. If you want to do a heart or something, you can. The dough will puff out a little bit when it's in the oven, so I wouldn't try anything too complicated. Like if you do a star, it might look a little weird. You could try it if you want, but it might not hold its shape. And if your dough is sticking, which mine is, it might not be quite cold enough. I can just put a little bit of flour. Just sprinkle a little flour on top to help it not stick so much. Okay, so once I have a nice shape and I rolled it out to an even thickness, I'm gonna bake it on a greased cookie sheet. And you might want to put a little bit of flour on your board before rolling it out so it won't stick. Okay, so I basically just have a giant sugar cookie here. So I'm gonna bake this for about 12 to 15 minutes at 375. And once it starts getting a little bit golden brown around the edges, then I can take it out. And then while I wait for my cookie to bake, I can start getting my frosting ready. So I just have a 8-ounce container of whipped cream cheese that is softened. You can use regular, I like the whipped because it's lighter, so it's a little easier to mix. But you can use, if you just have regular cream cheese and it's softened, then it should be pretty easy. And my recipe calls for a cup of powdered sugar. I might use a little bit less than a cup. That seems like it would be a lot. So depending on how sweet you want your frosting, you can decide if you want the whole amount or maybe the 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup if you want a little bit less sweet frosting. Or you could even just use the cream cheese by itself. I've done that before if you don't like it really sweet. And then I'm just gonna mix these together really well. And if you want to use your mixer, you can. I already used mine for my dough, so I didn't want to have to clean it out first, but if you have a hand mixer, that always works pretty well too. The powdered sugar should be pretty easy to mix in. It kind of melts into the cream cheese. It looks like it's already mixed, so that wasn't too hard. Okay, so when my cookie is done baking, I'll come take it out of the oven. Okay, so my cookie has been baking for 15 minutes, and it's just starting to get golden around the edge here. So I'm going to take this out, and before I put my frosting on it, I want to make sure it's completely cooled down, because if I put it on there when it's warm, the frosting is just going to melt off. So I could just wait patiently, or if I want to speed up the cooling process a little bit, I can put it outside or in the fridge. So when this is cool, I'll come back and decorate it. Okay, so my cookie is nice and cool, and it's ready to be frosted and fruited. So I'm just gonna take some frosting and spread it on top. And then I am ready to put my fruit on. So this is the part where you can be really creative. When we made these at school, some people made theirs look like a face. You can just do like a really cool design or pattern. I want to make mine rainbowy. So I just realized if I do it this way, I was just more worried about the design and how it looks, but now like if you split it into slices, everyone will just get one or two types of fruit, which is okay because then everyone can have their favorite fruit, but maybe it would have been better to do a circle rainbow so everyone could get a little bit of each kind, but I'm already committed at this point and I think it'll be just fine. So I'm just gonna finish putting my fruit on. And then I'll have a nice colorful fruit pizza. So when your pizza is ready, you can cut it up and share it with whoever you want. So thanks for watching my project. I hope you like this video and happy fruit pizza making.